Hello, everybody, and welcome to another video of Green Square Talks Battlebots. And joining me is Pory Nog and Civilian
Oh,
Arc. Be sure to check out their YouTube channels as they both post some interesting stuff there. How are you both doing today?
I am doing well. How are you guys doing?
not bad, not bad. It's been a pretty chill day.
Doing great so far as well. So in this video, we'll be talking about fight card number 2 for my fantasy tournament, which will come out this next coming Wednesday. And in this video, we'll be talking about each one of the matchups here and then talk about each one of the bots, and then we'll vote for who we think would win those things. So today's main event, we got a rematch between two of the best flippers in Robot Wars. We got Eruption and Apollo. We haven't seen a non-Rumble face-off between them since Series 8. So this will be a very interesting rematch, and we'll end the night with that one. So to lead off this fight card, we have Quantum and Death Roll, a rematch from Season 4. If you haven't seen that one or don't remember it, Quantum managed to get a bite in the weapon area, took out a weapon chain, and nearly got their second one. But because Death Roll had that second weapon chain, they were able to keep that weapon spinning, and it was all them from there, and they got the knockout. So what do you two think about this one? How would those two each approach their opponent differently if they fought once again with these designs or a similar one?
I think not Death Row. I think Quantum would probably be a little more hesitant. Like they wouldn't go straight into the blade like they did the first time. But I still am not sure about them winning that because while Quantum's a beautiful robot, it's really well built. It's kind of fragile.
Including it won King of Bots Season 1 with that
That's true.
design.
Yeah.
You got
Um,
anything, Civilian?
yeah, I do think Quantum will be a bit more cautious this time going around, but I think Death Roll already knows what Quantum will try to do because he's been against Quantum before. So, and because of how powerful Death Roll's weapon is, I'd say Death Roll could easily take this.
Yeah, I feel like talking about Death Roll would probably be a combination of just as aggressive as they have been in the past and possibly a little more cautious because they probably want to avoid going head on with Quantum just in case, even though they did win a head on exchange. As the first one there, Quantum was that close to disabling their spinner. So I could see Death Roll while being just as aggressive as before, trying to find the right angle and trying to outmaneuver Quantum.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like if they could successfully get both weapon belts, like it would be game over for Quantum.
Oh yeah.
But that's just the hard part because they were smart and they put on more than one belt.
Yeah, that was a very smart move on Death Roll's side here. As yeah, they will probably want to try to avoid that happening again as Quantum exploited that potential weakness.
Definitely.
I do feel that Quantum is a slightly better driver than Death Roll, but not by much.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I will agree with that one. But both of them are great drivers there.
Yeah, they're both very experienced in their field. They they both have two very potent bots. Quantum's just a bit too unreliable.
Yeah, like it's like it has like the most amazing crusher like ever, but it kind of comes at a cost of
Yeah.
the rest of the bot because like Quantum has had like 3 losses and between them like 5 hits.
I
So
Yeah,
kind of wish that they didn't get. I feel like they got a tough draw in 2019. I mean,
oh
they
yeah,
got
Tombstone, Death Roll, Lockjaw, definitely.
yeah,
they got Death Roll, who was unproven until this point, but they went up against Lockjaw. They
Mm-hmm.
went up against Duck.
yeah.
Uh, they went up against Valkyrie, who
They
they
beat
beat.
Valkyrie. That's pretty impressive actually.
Yeah,
I thought Valkyrie was gonna win that.
yeah.
Yeah, I was predicting Valkyrie for that one too. And yeah, Quantum pulled off a major surprise in that one. All right. Anybody have anything else they want to say, or should we put this one to a vote?
I think I'm good.
All right, I'm going to say let's put it to a vote, and my vote will be death roll.
Death roll.
Death roll 100%.
All right, unanimous decision in favor of death roll.
Nice.
So now the second fight, we have two classics as we got Chaos 2, the only machine to win Robot Wars twice, will be taking on Mo, a Comedy Central Battlebot. Want to hear your thoughts on that fight?
I only know the bare minimum of these two, although I've watched a lot more of classic Robot Wars than I have of classic BattleBots. And from what I've seen of Chaos 2, that thing is just a force to be reckoned with. It was a crazy flipper for its time. It had a pretty good driver.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if I remember right about Mo, they had a strong BattleBots Comedy Central season 4, made a big run in that one, but then season 5 in one of their first fights, they had some weapon reliability issues and lost that fight on a judge's decision. But then, yeah, like you said, Chaos 2 is definitely a force to be reckoned with, as that flipper is nasty.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, it's kind of funny because how you say Chaos 2 is the only two-time champion. Like, for the longest time, because I barely watched Robot Wars, I thought that Carbide won 2 years in a row. Then somebody told me that Eruption won the last season. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it just shows that I don't pay attention to Robot Wars enough. But I do feel like Mo would probably take this just because that weapon is powerful. It might not be the most reliable, but, like, it does do some good hits. And when it did lose in season 5.0, like, it did tear apart Stealth Terminator a good amount.
Yeah.
Like, if that fight would have happened in the reboot era, Mo probably would have won that judge's decision. And that also comes to, like, are we basing it on Robot Wars judging or the BattleBots judging?
I'd really we'll just go BattleBots judging.
BattleBots judging is a bit more fair.
Yeah,
I'd say Mo, yeah.
I forget. Didn't the Mo team want to compete in 2016? And
yeah.
And they said no because it was like too much like Tombstone or something like that.
Which is ironic because Mo inspired Tombstone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad, but
they had a hissy fit about it though, which is kind of lame.
It's like having SOB cut into BattleBots again and say it's too much like Sawblaze, even though it was Sawblaze's inspiration.
They probably would do that too. That's a funny part.
All right, should we put this one to a vote then?
I am gonna go with Chaos 2 on this one.
I'm gonna go with Mo.
Yeah, I think this one's gonna be a relatively interesting one. I feel like Mo is gonna get a dish out a bunch of big hits, but then I feel like their spinner might fall, and then Chaos 2 might take over for like the second part of the fight. I am going to vote Mo for this one in a judge's decision.
It's probably going to be a lot like a Carbide versus Eruption in the season 10 finale.
I completely agree with that one.
The final that I forgot happened.
All right, so fight number 3, we have Terahertz and Rainbow. John Reed, who is one of the only builders, at least in this fantasy tournament, with multiple bots here. They got their Axe bot from Robot Wars, Terahertz, taking on Rainbow, who we saw last season. Thoughts on this one?
Oh boy. So Terahertz is definitely the one that I feel have this because it's a decent spinner, but it's like if we're talking about Mo being unreliable, Rainbow is even less reliable. Like, I mean, I read somewhere that apparently like it was pretty close to dying against Nelly the Ellie bot. Even like the spinner died at the end of that fight.
Yeah, as I know they had a dominant fight against Nelly the Ellie bot. They had a rumble with, I believe it was Extinguisher and the 4 Horsemen that was untelevised, which
Double Jeopardy.
Double Jeopardy and Extinguisher. Yeah, I know Extinguisher for sure. Double Jeopardy then as well. And while I believe they did win that fight, they did
won, but they lost their weapon.
Yeah, they came out with a lot of damage, which kind of costed them a little when they fought Yeti next.
I'm actually amazed. I'm amazed that fight made it to TV, honestly, because I was like, a pretty weak fight because Double Jeopardy missed right away. Rainbow's weapon died like 30 seconds in, and then it's just
I
like
would have
pushing.
honestly given that decision to Double Jeopardy. It looked like it was in control for most of the fight, actually. The only thing
Yeah,
I'd
it was.
say that the problem with it was is that it looked like Extinguisher was doing a lot of top armor damage to it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that. All right,
But
should anybody else have anything they want to say about either one of these bots, or should we
I
put
mean,
it to a vote?
what? I don't think it's even fair here. I mean, Terror Hertz has been able to take like carbide hits and still keep on
Yeah.
going.
Yeah,
Granted, it kind of had a little bit of a decline in each from Series 8 to Series 8, 9 to Series 10, but it was still a relatively consistent bot. It was durable, and you have to be like an insanely strong robot to like beat Terror Hertz in a KO.
Yeah, and it has a good wedge for horizontals too. Like with
Yeah.
yes,
Rainbow,
they've
it's gonna
always
probably
been
fly
well
in the
known.
air.
That John Reed has always been well known for being quite horizontal spinner resistant. Like that type of armor he puts on the front was able to withstand Tombstone when they came in with Beta for season 2, and yeah, they were able to do the same thing with Carbide, and I bet they would be able to do the same thing with Rainbow here.
Yeah, like Rainbow, I feel like they just aren't reliable enough. Like if they could barely stand up to Nelly the Ellibot or Double Jeopardy, who's to say it's going to stand up to Terror Hertz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and put it to a vote here.
I
Rainbow.
vote for Terror Hertz, the split decision.
No, I'm kidding. Terror Hertz.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Terror Hertz as I bet they win it by knockout.
Yeah.
All right, so then next up we have Clusterbot from Robot Wars, Crackers and Smash will be taking on Extinguisher. And the three of us were talking with John, their Extinguisher's team captain, and they told us if they went up against Crackers and Smash or a bot like it, this would be the configuration they would go with. So that they would go with their vertical spinner configuration and throw a bunch of wedgelets on their bot when taking on Crackers and Smash, believing that they can get underneath Crackers and Smash and dish out some heavy damage to them. So, thoughts on this one?
This I have. It's kind of hard because I do like Crackers and Smash. It was a good design. It was able to go up against Carbide for a little bit before.
Yeah. I felt like it was kind of unfair, their Series 10 run, knowing that in their opening fight, they took on both Aftershock and Eruption in there.
They had Aftershock, Eruption, and Carbide in the same, and Big Nipper. Like
Yeah.
4 high tier to top tier bots.
That's one thing I don't like. That's one thing I didn't like about Robot Wars, like the last 3 seasons of it, because like Series 9, they put Carbide and Apollo in the same exact heat, and then Series 10, they threw Aftershock, Eruption, and Carbide all in the same one.
Like what you want is to have the top 2 seeds probably go against each other in the grand final instead.
Yeah, I think they were looking towards like trying to get some of like the rookie and new designs, give them like a better chance. And so if you kind of get what I'm saying by that.
Yeah, I get it. I don't like it, but I get it.
Oh yeah. Because I felt like Crackers and Smash might have done like a lot better, or except that knowing their wedge spot got trashed by Aftershock in their opening fight.
Yeah.
So then and then on the other side we have Extinguisher. We saw them in the last episode, but they died after one hit to the front from Perfect Phoenix. What they did say in that post on Instagram and Facebook involving that was that they had ESC or a speed controller issue there, where they had a design flaw within those things where even under little impact, those things can very easily short out, which was what happened in that fight against Perfect Phoenix. The happy thing, though, is that they were able to fix that, even though they had to sacrifice a little bit of control within their bot. But then they showed a video of them along with using that hammer or once, ramming themselves into the wall of the test box just to show that taking a bunch of impact, they can survive that. So I bet we'll see big things out of Extinguisher later in this season.
I hope so. They're in my fantasy league.
Extinguisher. I think Extinguisher is a contender to be possibly the most improved robot of the year if they're able to do like good in their next two fights, because they seem to have a lot of potential.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
John made a lot of major improvements to Extinguisher for this season. Now, as we unfortunately didn't get to see the vertical spinner last season because they were sold fake motors last season, I believe, as of what I remember. But they managed to improve their hammer or make it a lot faster firing and made it a lot more powerful. We'll probably see the vertical spinner in action this season. At least I hope so.
That spinner is nasty.
Yeah, they improved their drive and their control. So yeah, I believe that they could definitely be a contender for most improved bot this season.
They're my vote for the death roll run.
Oh yeah, I will agree with that. Even though they didn't win their fight against Perfect Phoenix, I could definitely see a death roll run out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anything else you guys want to say about this one?
I feel like Extinguisher would probably take it, especially using the vertical. And, I mean, even with the hammer, I could see them potentially doing it. Like, Cracker and Smash isn't a bad robot, and we never really got to see it shine because it only faced, like, elite tier robots,
Yeah, because
unfortunately.
it had to take on Carbide and Apollo in Series 9, and then, like what we said, Carbide, Aftershock, and Eruption all in Series 10. So, yeah, they've kind of had it rough. All right, so then let's go ahead and put it to a vote.
I'm going to go with Extinguisher by KO.
That's about where I am, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to bet Extinguisher wins it. I'm going to bet Extinguisher wins it by KO, but then there's less than a minute left on the clock because I feel like Crackers and Smash will be able to survive against Extinguisher for a while.
Yeah, they might do a little bait and switch tactic where where Crackers distracts Extinguisher and then Smash just goes in and tries to attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so next up we have Pory's favorite machine, Ribot, who is taking on the full body spinner of Son of Waihachi.
How are you feeling right now, Pory?
Yeah. How are you feeling?
Ribot could do it. I feel he could.
Yeah.
I feel like if they fought Son of Waihachi, they'd use the big wedge configuration with their vertical like they did with Valkyrie. And I mean, and Son of Waihachi is not invertible, so it'd be kind of like the Tracer fight all over again. But
I could
maybe not
that.
to that degree, but.
And so, yeah, I agree with you that I bet they'll come with the vertical spinner, and if they have their plow that they used against Valkyrie last season, I bet they would use that for this fight again.
Yeah, they have it.
Yeah, you can confirm that. I believe it. So.
Yeah.
Did they get a new vertical spinner weapon for this year? Is it different from the 2019 vertical spinner?
I think so. I think it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, I would guess it's different, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, I know that. I don't think they brought their lifter this year. I think they just have.
Yeah, I believe what I heard from Battlebots Wiki is that they just have the undercutter and they have the vertical spinner for this season.
Yeah, but the lifter really wouldn't do that much against most robots anyway. So
yeah, it's not. There's not a lot of bots you could use lifting mechanism against, especially if you're like a what's it called? A Swiss Army bot or like a modular bot.
All right, so then Son of Waihachi, which we haven't seen a fight out of it, but what it sounds like, but I don't want to be completely sure about this, is that they're possibly only in the bounty thing, but of course I don't want to count that out because in the opener for the first episode, we saw them taking on Gigabyte.
Yeah, I don't think they would.
They might be in the main competition.
If Bounty Hunters is supposed to be like a tournament, from what I know, it's like a tournament between 8 bots. They all fight each other, and then they go and then the winner of the tournament goes to the bounty, I think.
Yeah, they'll take on
Yeah.
they'll take on one of the 6 legends. I believe it's Tombstone, Witch Doctor, Bronco, Ice Wave, Son of Waiachi, and who's the last one? Beta.
Beta.
I don't think they would make a spoiler like that. So I think Sao is in the main competition.
Yeah. I would really enjoy that, as the competition already doesn't feel the same without lots of the international teams. It wouldn't feel the same without Son of Waiachi in there as
Yeah.
well.
It's very
I
different.
could
without
see
Vikings.
I could see Sal being an exhibition only robot though, because there were some fights in the opener that I was just looking at and I'm like, why else would this happen unless it happened in the bracket? Like, why else would they throw Gravot in the arena with Gigabyte?
Like, why? The thing I'm most confused about: Rusty versus Sawblaze and Rusty versus Beta. You put Rusty against Sporkanock, and then you put him against 2 elite teams like
I
that.
could see them putting Rusty against one elite, but then giving them multiple. Must be a bad sign for one of either
I'm
Sawblaze
predicting
or
that
Beta, in which we already know Sawblaze got to win.
Yeah, Sawblaze is killer this year. Apparently, the fight between Sawblaze and Rusty is going to be really good. Someone told me. I don't know the results, obviously, but somebody, like, when I mentioned it, they were like, that fight's awesome. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Imagine if it's actually a postseason fight and Rusty makes it to the postseason. He gets 3-0.
It already has 1 win. All it really
Yeah.
has to do is
I don't
get one more win.
want to count Rusty out.
It has more wins than Tombstone and Bite Force this year.
Yes, it does.
And Witch Doctor.
Yep, Witch Doctor too.
And Whiplash.
Yep, that too. Oh,
Which
man.
is a shame because Sporkanock is on my team. So
Yeah, I don't even remember who I put on my team. I wish I quick find that out, but yeah. All right, so let's go back to this fight. You two have anything else you want to say about either of these bots, or should we put it to a vote?
I mean, there's not a lot to say about Sao. It's destructive. It's been in Battlebots forever.
yeah.
The thing I'm wondering is how have they changed the spin up time on that thing? Because that was their big issue last season that cost them against their fight against Sawblaze and kind of against their fight against Whiplash as well.
That could be the key to this fight between Whiplash and Sao. If Ribot is fast enough to stop Sao from spinning up to full speed.
Yeah, and I could absolutely see that.
And then there's also the case where if someone actually does get up to full speed and Ribot goes with their wedge and their vertical, they could pull off a Copperhead or Poison Arrow thing, and along with get a flip.
Yeah, like sort of what happened with Brutus, like where it hit the wedge and
That's kind of where I'm going by that.
That was a big brain play by Brutus.
Yes, it was. All right, so let's go ahead and put it to a vote then.
I'm gonna go with Sao by knockout in like the last 30 seconds of the fight. I think it's gonna be a close match overall, but I think Sao has the strength and experience to overpower Ribot.
All right.
In the end.
I'm gonna say Ribot minute 30.
Oh,
Flip him over.
Oh gosh, this one's in my hands. This is a tough decision.
It's good. It'd be a good fight.
It would.
Really
this would be.
Probably
one thing I was thinking of is that Ribot would get destroyed. What about if they get a flip on Son of Waiachi? That's what's going to make this thing difficult.
I mean, the frog is coming off either way.
Yeah,
I think
Ribot is going to get the win on Son of Waiachi, but I think they are going to take a massive amount of damage in this one.
They just take too much damage. They can't compete anymore.
A lot more than they fought than when they fought Endgame.
They're gonna have a lot of fixing up to do, and it'll be the second Waiachi bot they beat. So win-win.
Crap.
Oh yeah, they beat Falcon, didn't they?
Oh yes, they did beat Falcon.
I don't think they could beat Hydra though.
I think they could beat.
I think the question is, can that bot self-right there? Can their new design self-right? Because if they come with the undercutter, I think they could do some major damage to Hydra if they met with Hydra.
I think it can run inverted, but obviously with like the frog sloped up, like the undercutter would be kind of
I
useless
think
on
it.
them.
I think with the frog on, their back two wheels touch the ground, and without the frog, all four wheels touch the ground.
Yeah, yeah. Depending on if the vert, obviously probably only the back two wheels, etc.
That would
Unless they
make
have.
sense. All right, so then we got Witch Doctor and Mad Catter, and before we start talking about this fight, this is the one I'm most looking forward to talking about here because currently we are 2 episodes into the new season of Battlebots. These two have both had one fight, and even though one of them won their fight, the other did not win their fight. Both of them had quite impressive performances, so
And
I'm
both
very
of them
looking forward
faced
to
Waiachi
discussing this
bots.
one. Yes, they did. Both of them did fight Waiachi bots.
Comes full circle.
All right, so thoughts on this one?
I mean, I think Mad Catter has definitely improved between seasons. It definitely looks like it could be a very destructive, potent robot, as shown in its fight against Fusion. But I'm not sure how well it can go against a vertical spinner, especially a vertical spinner against a bot of high caliber like Witch Doctor.
Yeah, what I
Agreed.
imagine Mad Catter would probably do would be go with the same configuration they use with Fusion. There were where their self-ring stick or the cat paw is, they have a lifting fork there. I imagine I could see them trying to use that to maybe get underneath Witch Doctor and land a big hit with their vertical spinner.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The
Yeah,
one
I
concern,
feel like.
you
Oh
go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry. I feel like they would still struggle though, because I mean they're facing like an elite robot. Like Mad Catter looks great, and like when they were in King of Bots as Cat King, like Cat King was freaking killer, but I'm still not convinced that they're at that level quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, they beat Fusion, but in my honest opinion, I think Fusion was way too overhyped.
Fusion
I
was
feel
having
that,
teething troubles too. I feel as well.
yeah,
Like first time bot
when I
probably
first
set on
heard of
fire.
the idea of Fusion, I was like, well, this is going to end terribly because Waiachi bots have not been good with dual weaponry as shown by Warrior Clan and Falcon.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had high hopes for Fusion as I did predict them to win against Mad Catter, but of course, I was thinking of the Mad Catter. They got split in half multiple times last season, and yeah, I think
Yeah, I
you
did.
said this, Civilian, in one of your posts on Insta. But yeah, Mad Catter was the most surprising bot to me in the
Yeah, I did. I did put Mad Catter
that
as most
episode.
surprising.
So then let's talk about Witch Doctor next, since we haven't really talked about them much. Of course, we did see them close one against Hydra,
Crazy
is
fight.
what I would
Very
probably
insane.
say.
it was
As
a
they are,
really insane
even though
fight.
they did have a battery fire and lose one of the teeth on their vertical spinner, that is still an elite bot, and I bet we will see a lot of big things out of Witch Doctor in this coming season.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I
I
don't
mean,
doubt there.
anyone who can take those flips from Hydra is definitely a tank. Because I mean,
Oh yeah,
Hydra was like flipping that thing like so high in the air, and it was just
that
like
was like
fine.
10 feet probably. I'm guessing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, including Hydra did double their flipping power for this season compared to last one, which is quite nice.
oh yeah.
So yeah, so then do you two have anything else you want to say about either one of these bots or something like that, or should we get to a vote?
Uh, I don't have much to add.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank.
So then let's go with a vote here.
I'm gonna say Witch Doctor just because it's an elite robot, and while Mad Catter is definitely on its way to getting there, I just don't think they're quite there yet. But they might change my mind later this season.
Yeah, what Pory said, it definitely looks like Mad Catter is on a highway to heaven right now, but it ain't quite there yet. Um, Mad Catter's only had one fight, and I haven't seen a lot of King of Bots, so I won't entirely know. All I know is that Cat King is insanity. Um, I think Witch Doctor will win via knockout because Witch Doctor's just proven how massively destructive it is in the past 2 seasons.
Forgot to mention this, but yeah, one concern I would actually have for Mad Catter is after Fusion caught fire in there. I don't know if you noticed this, but Mad Catter's weapon actually stopped spinning after that. I
I didn't
am
know.
not sure if they were either having reliability issues or if they just shut it down. But
I only
Yeah.
noticed it when Mr. Psycho pointed it out in his episode review.
yeah, that would definitely be a concern for me in this one. I think Witch Doctor will win this one, but I think they're going to win it by a judge's decision because another concern I have for Witch Doctor has been their weapon reliability. It's just been all over the place within the past few seasons, as we've seen many times. We've seen their motors overheat many times within the past many seasons.
They
And
have
Yeah.
had shown a lot of weapon reliability issues, especially in 2019. That was their big flaw of 2019, in my opinion. So that could, if Mad Catter could outlast Witch Doctor long enough to possibly do some damage, then it might win. But the question is, how much damage will Witch Doctor do until it chokes out and loses its weapon?
perfect. All right, so then we have the bonus fight. We have Gigabyte and Gemini, two bots we have not seen yet, but those two bots both look quite fierce and they could be quite nice contenders for this season.
Yeah. Hopefully next week we'll see him.
All right, so then one big concern I would have for Gemini is some cluster bots, their big advantage is use one, like I should really use their fight against Lucky back in season 3, the Desperado tournament, as the example for this. They used one of their Gemini bots to go after Lucky at a time, and then they came after Lucky with the other one, try to get a hit on like the sides, the back side of this one. My big concern is they don't have that advantage for like full body spinners like Gigabyte, for example. And I think
Yeah.
that could be a problem for Gemini.
It's a much different scenario against a full body spinner because, like, whatever you hit on the full body spinner, you're gonna get hit also. Like, there's no avoiding it. You're gonna get hit.
Yeah, as I imagine we're going to see a lot of weapon on weapon action if these two were to fight.
Yeah.
So I am looking forward to seeing Uppercut take on Gemini because we
That looks
know
like a
that
juicy fight.
one of them is going to get sent flying.
From what it looked in like the opening of the episode 1, it looked like Uppercut just like Fusro Dodd Gemini, one of the Gemini.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because that looks very exciting.
I hope that's this week.
Yeah, same here. All right, you guys have anything else you want to say, or will that be it for this?
Well, I think that Gemini definitely had a glow up this year. Like the weapons look like they're much more effective than the discs were. I do feel like unless they use the single bot configuration with like the armor and the sides with the wedges, like I don't really see them doing a whole lot to Gigabyte.
The problem with them having better weaponry is also their downfall because in the past 2 seasons we've also seen them have dealt with a lot of friendly fire, which has usually destroyed one of the robots and immobilized them, leaving the other one to fight the main bots.
Yeah, especially if they're. Yeah, I feel like they've probably been practicing driving a lot, like during the off season, just to make sure they don't do that. Because they did drive a little bit better last season. Like 2018 was a nightmare. They hit each other in like every fight they were in, pretty much.
Although
Yeah,
they
so I
had
think
a
they would
lot
have won their fight against Lucky if they didn't ram into each other and destroy the horizontal spinners for each other.
They had a lot of entertaining fights in 2018, though. Like
Yeah.
the Gemini versus the Four Horsemen was one of my favorite fights this season.
That was a good fight, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really see too much entertainment out of like Clusterbot. Well, I like Clusterbot versus Clusterbot fights, but that one was an entertaining fight.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, should we put this one to a vote then?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Gigabyte by knockout. Gemini has some potential, it seems, but Gigabyte is like just insanely destructive. It's like probably the second or third best full body spinner in Battlebots right now.
Yeah, I agree. I'm definitely going with Gigabyte as well.
Yeah, I bet Gigabyte will win this by knockout in less than a minute and a half.
Yeah.
All right, last fight of the fight card. We have the main event where we have Eruption and Apollo, a rematch between them. We've seen them fight 3 times. We saw them fight Series 8 in a one-on-one fight in their heat, where we saw Eruption win that one because I think Apollo was still recovering from damage after flipping 2 house robots in their previous fight. And then we saw them fight in Series 9, the grand final, where Eruption Aftershock ganged up on Apollo and took them out, I believe. At least as of what it looked like.
From what it looked like from one of the hits, it looked like Apollo was stuck from the ground, and then Aftershock hit it, and I think that's what made Apollo a lot weaker when when they repaired the floor.
Yeah. And then they fought in Series 10 in the 10-way free-for-all rumble, but then Apollo unfortunately ran out of gas to their flipper, and
Yeah.
Eruption,
So we didn't
hanging
really
out
get
in the back corner, managed to take out Apollo with one easy flip.
we didn't really get to see the Apollo Eruption rematch that we were hoping to see.
Yeah, but we'll be able to
Yeah.
predict what we think the outcome will be here if those two were to meet again. So,
I'm
or-
I'm thinking that Apollo is a little bit more experienced. I want to say because they've been doing it. I mean, they're obviously both older robots, but Apollo's they've been entering other competitions. Like they entered King of Bots and they won the last season of King of Bots 2 with a Vulcan, which is basically Apollo with pipes on the side. They have a lot of experience behind them, so I'd probably edge it out to them, honestly.
and they were originally going to come to Battlebots with Orion, but then sadly had to drop out due to travel restrictions thanks to COVID.
Was
Yeah,
it?
hopefully they can come in.
Oh yeah.
So, kind of, you go ahead,
It
Civilian.
definitely seemed from what I saw in Robot Wars 8 through 10, it definitely looks like Eruption was the better driver overall. It seemed like Eruption usually paced his flips a lot. Apollo kind of just went in there a little, I don't want to say reckless, but uncautious, I guess.
They're more aggressive for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, a big trade-off I could see between these two flipper bots. Apollo definitely seems like the more powerful flipper between the two bots, as we've seen Apollo flip house robots. We saw Eruption attempt to flip Dead Metal in the UK versus the World episode. And
Apollo almost got Sir Kill-A-Lot that
oh,
one
you should
time.
have seen my reaction after I saw that episode for the first time and saw Apollo come that close to flipping Kill a Lot.
Like that would have been just big. That would have.
We'll
Oh,
never get to
imagine
see
that.
it now.
Yeah, you heard the audience give out a loud cheer after that, after they almost flipped Kill a Lot the last time.
They should have
And
given 1v4 with Apollo versus all of the house robots.
oh, the house robots would all love that.
They'd love their revenge.
Yeah, as we know, Apollo flipped Dead Metal twice between Series 8 and 10. They got Matilda and Shunt in Series 8 and almost got Kill a Lot in 9 and 10. But then I mentioned a trade-off where Apollo is the more powerful flipper. Eruption
Yeah,
definitely seems like the flipper that's lower to the ground between the two of them, and that
yeah,
was an advantage they had when they fought in Series 8, and that seemed like an advantage they had when they went one-on-one with each other in the 10-way free-for-all in Series 10.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it definitely seems like it would be a very close main event between these two. They both have massive advantages and disadvantages against each other.
Yeah. So right now, should anybody else have anything they want to say, or should we vote on this main event?
That's a good vote.
I'm gonna go with Eruption by a split judges decision.
I'm gonna go Apollo by a split judge's decision.
I'm gonna agree with it. Even though Apollo is my favorite robot in
I
Robot
love
Wars,
Apollo.
I am going to go with Eruption in a split judges decision, as I think
Apollo's
this fight
awesome.
will be very close.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be close regardless, for sure.
All right, perfect. So, do you two have anything else you want to say about this fight card?
It definitely looks like there's a lot of interesting matches that I'd love to see in real life. I would love to see Chaos 2 and Mo go back to come out from retirement. I'd love to see how Mad Catter would handle Witch Doctor, and I'd love to see the Eruption Apollo rematch a lot.
Oh yeah.
Agreed.
All right. So, yeah. Anything else you want to say, Pory, or is that all?
Pretty much just the same thing, that I would love to see some of these fights actually happen.
Yeah, that's the fun part about doing lots of these fantasy tournaments, because you run into matchups that you would want to see in real life.
Oh yeah.
All right, so I think that will do it here. So this fight card will come out this Wednesday on my Instagram, so be sure to vote on it in polls. This will also be posted in the Battlebots Facebook group chat, and you can feel free to vote through commenting in there. And yeah, I will hopefully see you for the next episode. Thank you for watching this, and thanks to the co-hosts for joining us.
Have a good one.